You know, the universe is constantly expanding every second of every hour of every day. And I think the reason is that it wants to get as far away from this goddamn planet as possible. So this first video is a re-upload from the YouTube Storytime channel Minute Videos about this girl who got bullied in school for being anti-gay. But this one's a doozy, so be warned. And I do have this on 1.25 speed because they do talk kinda slow in this, so...
It was the end of the day, and I was waiting for my bus with one of my friends when she began asking me random questions. All of a sudden, though, she asked, "Hey, have you heard of the LGBT plus community?" Yes, I had. Is this the last question? No, but almost. Do you support gay and lesbians? Like the people who are in the LGBT community? Do I give her my honest opinion? Or should I lie? Maybe I should just tell her what I think will make her happy. But what if it's not the right answer she wants to hear? I mean, she's my friend. I'm sure we'll be fine. After a quick pause, I gave her my reply. No. She
No.
tried to hide it, but I saw the shock on her face. She smiled awkwardly and said, "Oh, okay." I had no idea what that meant and thought of it as nothing more than an awkward and random conversation. We said bye to one another as she walked her way home, and I hopped on my bus. Before I went to bed, my mind kept replaying my friend's question and why she acted so awkwardly to my answer. Why did she look like she was hiding something? Or what if she doesn't want to be my friend anymore? Am I a bad person for not supporting the LGBT plus community?
I wouldn't call you a horrible bad person necessarily, but I would not consider you a fully good person either.
The biggest thing I couldn't get off my mind was her awkward smile hiding her true emotions from me. I thought about it the entire night until I fell asleep hoping it was just a harmless question and she'd forget about it tomorrow. I walked through the hallway saying hello to my classmates and friends, and every time I did, they brushed me off or give me a dirty look. I even had a few people ignore me and whisper something to someone else right in front of me and then walk away. Did I do something wrong?
Yes.
Why are people giving me these mean looks?
I wonder why.
Finally, I saw my friend who asked me the question the other day and nervously said, "Hi." She automatically replied, "Get away from me!" I backed up in shock. We were fine the other day. At least, I thought we were fine. What? What did I do? At this point, everyone had their eyes on us waiting to see what would happen. "How dare you not support gays or lesbians?" "What? Why did you tell everyone? I thought you were my friend." "How can I be friends with someone who doesn't support what I or all of us do? You're a monster and unaccepting of other people's preferences. You just don't fit in with the rest of us anymore." At this point, everyone gave me a dirty look and agreed with her.
Good.
It was like I had committed some kind of sin and
Are you kidding me right now?
didn't deserve to be around everyone else. In an instant, I was the worst person in the entire school. The only thing I could do was run into the bathroom. I cried so hard, so much, and so loud, someone in the other stall heard me and told me to shut up.
That's funny.
I felt so ashamed of myself for not supporting or accepting the LGBT plus community.
Then start supporting it. Your life would seem much better if you did.
I hated myself for not lying and saying I did support them. I wanted to go home so badly, but there was no way I could. The rest of the day was just as bad, if not worse. People mocked me and called me homophobe,
I wonder why.
which wasn't true at all.
What do you mean?
Tried to tell them that it was my personal preference to not support it, but it
Can you please tell us why?
didn't mean I hated people who are gay or lesbian.
Clearly you have some negative bias towards them. And it doesn't matter if you don't hate them. It's still logically and morally wrong to not agree or support it. And there are three major, plot holes or problems with this video. One of them is, which I don't see a lot of people talking about when they talk about this video, is that the girl, the anime girl here, never explains why she doesn't support the community or doesn't agree with it. Like, she never mentions her religion or anything, and I can't counter her points because she doesn't have any. And how am I supposed to sympathize with her and feel bad for her when I don't even know what her side is? It's kind of hard to feel bad for her when she has these opinions. Then the second one is this allegedly took place in a middle school, and if you know the climate around gay people in middle schools, or just been to a middle school, you know most of the kids would probably be on her side anyway, so which makes this even more unlikely. And then the third one is is according to the Minute Video's Facebook page and community post they made after they posted this abomination originally, is that this story allegedly took place in the Philippines, which, from what I know, is not a very gay-friendly country, which makes this story even more unlikely. But I guess kids are woke these days, I suppose. Or except for her, of course.
I had never felt so alone, so I decided I had to tell my parents what was happening to me at school. But would they yell at me for having these opinions? Or worse still, they might hate me. I entered my kitchen to see both of my parents sitting there. Even though I tried to find the words to tell them I needed to talk, all I could find were tears. Both of them quickly stood up and came to the door where I was standing to comfort me. My mom asked me what was wrong, and I began to explain. I told them the question my friend asked the day before, and then my answer. That I just didn't agree with the LGBT plus community.
There's no logical or moral reason to not agree with it. Homosexuality is simply a thing that exists. It's a biological trait about someone, a chemical reaction in their head. You cannot disagree with biology, or reality for that matter. That's not how it works. Like, grow up, honestly.
To my delight, my mom and dad, they reassured me that it was okay to have different opinions to other people about things like sexuality, religion, and politics.
Disagreements are for politics, not people themselves or their existence. Like, human beings are not ideas, child.
Just as long as you are not rude or disrespectful towards them.
It doesn't matter if you're rude or not, it's still morally wrong. And logically wrong to not support someone who's gay or think that being gay is bad.
Unfortunately, the kids at my school didn't see it that way.
Good.
My old friends would either turn their backs on me to ignore me, or worse, mutter mean words under their breaths as they passed me in the hallways. Their words would cut through me to my core.
Like what you do to gay kids. And people like you do to gay kids.
I would come home every day, head straight for my room, and cry. My parents would ask, "Darling, what's wrong?" But I couldn't bring myself to tell them how bad things had become. Over the next few months, my school life was miserable. No one was interested in hearing my opinion or reasons. All they cared about was their own.
Because you don't have any reasons.
Things had become so bad at school that my grades started to slip. I just couldn't concentrate, and no one wanted to work with me or help me in class. Eventually, the school's head had noticed something wasn't right and called my parents in for a meeting. I was nervous, scared even, that my parents would be mad at me for me letting this affect my grades. But after seeing how bad things had become and how unhappy I was, they both agreed that the best thing for me would be to move schools and have a fresh start. A year has passed since I moved schools, and I've made great new friends, all with different views and opinions. I still have the same views,
How?
but I've realized that there are better ways to express them. I look back on that day my friend asked me my opinion, and maybe if I hadn't been so short in my answer and turned it into a discussion about our different opinions, things could have been different.
Well, if you were debating me or any other logical person, you would not have won that debate, because your views are very faulty.
The way my new friends accept different opinions by discussing them rather than turning them into a witch hunt.
And once again, human beings are not ideas to agree or disagree with or be discussed.
And isolating the person with a different opinion has made me feel so at home.
Isn't that what happens to a lot of gay kids from people like you? And I understand they shouldn't have bullied you. They should have just educated you on why you're wrong. But still, this video tries to make it seem like this girl's innocent, which she is not. So, they try to turn the oppressor into the oppressed, which is not true in most of reality.
I have learned that people will always have different opinions in life, but that is fine. Just
Again, humans are not ideas to be discussed.
because a friend doesn't agree with you doesn't mean you can't be friends. You should be open with each other.
I don't know how or why anyone, logical or moral, would want to be friends with someone who has views like you.
And discuss your differences. The world doesn't need to be any more divided than it already is.
You're the one dividing it in the first place.
And if it turns out you still don't get along with someone after hearing their opinion, you can still be respectful. Saying mean things to them is bullying, and even though they might look fine on the outside, inside, they could be really hurting.
Oh, I hope you think that about all the gay kids who get bullied by people like you. And I hope you believe that the other way around, because your opinions can cause real harm to a lot of people, and have caused a lot of pain to a lot of people. All in all, this story probably isn't even real. It's probably just made up by some old fart on the internet who just discovered what the internet was and wanted to claim some precious victim points. Except on the conservative side. The story tries to turn the oppressor into the oppressed, which is a really scummy thing to do, honestly. And I get the message Minute videos may have been trying to push with this video, but this was the wrong topic to push that message through.
4 students with 4 matching t-shirts. 1 controversial message.
I just made it say gay day is not okay, because I don't believe that it's okay.
Just because you think it's not okay doesn't mean it's actually not okay. Which being gay is okay no matter what all the religious goblins say. There is no logical or moral reason to think it's not okay. Religion is not a factual argument.
Borough and just 3 of his friends wore the shirts at Oregon City High School, where there are more than 2,000 students. For some there, today was a day of silence. Only about 40 kids participate, but it ends the much larger Unity Week that all the students do. It's meant to be a time of dropping labels and breaking down social barriers.
I don't have a big problem with gay people.
It seems like you do.
Just when they start going parading around the school about how we have a day of silence for gays, lesbians, transvestites, it's like we don't have a straight day.
You don't have a straight day because straight kids are not being bullied because they're straight, you goblin. Use your brain. Or what am I saying? Homophobes do not have brain matter. They just have dark voids in their heads. Black holes for brains. Like, seriously, grow up, kids.
Says he doesn't like the message associated with the Day of Silence, intended to draw attention to bullying of gay students.
How sick and perverted do you have to be to think that the message of not bullying gay students is wrong? Like, if you kids seriously believe that, you kids seriously need psychiatric help. But this is no surprise coming from the all-loving Christians.
The kids who wore the shirts tell me they have heard from students who support their freedom of speech.
Unfortunately. And I don't think these kids would be upset. I think they would want, like, a straight day or Christian day, so they're probably hypocritical about this. And if you wearing the shirts is free speech, isn't the gay day and them, quote-unquote, parading around the school, isn't that freedom of speech too?
And of course, a lot who are pretty upset. Still, they say they would do it all again.
Yeah, because they're all delusional.
What does God say is the answer, is the solution for the homosexual in 2022, here in the New Testament, here in the book of Romans, that they are worthy of death?
Well, that's very unreasonable.
These people should be put to death.
Why?
Every single homosexual in our country should be charged with the crime, the abomination of homosexuality that
Being gay is not a crime. Sorry to break it to you.
they have. They should be convicted in a lawful trial. They should
Well, they can't be.
be sentenced with death. They should be lined up against the wall and shot in the back of the head. That's what God teaches.
Well, I do say that it's a little bit too far. And there are people in the crowd, like, cheering him on, like, what the hell, honestly. And if that's what God teaches, your God sounds horrible. That is not a God you should worship.
That's what the Bible says. You don't like it, you don't like God's word. Because that is what God says.
Well, anyone with more than half of a functioning brain cell should not like that.
When sodomites, when wicked reprobate sodomites go up and shoot up an elementary school,
Ah, yes, they're now blaming the gays for school shootings.
you know what the sodomites are doing? They're rejoicing.
Literally who?
They're happy about that. Because it says that they have pleasure in them that do all these things. You know, while a normal person would look at a tragedy or something really sad that happened, a child getting abused, you know, a school shooter, a murder, a rape, a really just sick crime, and our hearts would break over that, and we would be grieved for the sin and for the wickedness that's gone on when they celebrate it. They're happy about it. Here,
Name me one person in the LGBT community who supports any of this. Like, seriously, do you have a source for any of this? You don't, because you just made all that up.
here's why homosexuals are so dangerous to society.
Ooh, scary.
They're not like other sinners in the sense that every
My God.
single day that they are alive, they're being filled with more and more and more unrighteousness.
Okay.
That is a scary thing.
Ooh, scary.
You want to know why we say that all homosexuals are pedophiles? Let me make that very clear. All homosexuals are pedophiles.
Well, that's a factually incorrect statement. 97% of child sex crime victims are girls, victimized by men.
And people say, well, what about all the straight people that molest children? They're
Okay, here we go with the slurs, obviously. Didn't see that coming. And bold of this guy to be talking, considering how many little kids have been abused in the church system by pastors just like you, especially little boys. You should be saying this to your own people, not to us.
I don't care what you call them. If a person is with a child, you're reprobate. You're sodomite.
I miss the days when people like this were thrown in lunatic asylums. We need to revert back to those days. And again, there are people in the crowd, like, cheering him on, like, get a life, honestly. Like, what the hell? And I'm pretty sure this sermon would be quite sinful in terms of biblical standards. I do not think God would approve of this guy, or his message, or his delivery. And again, this country seriously needs to put more money and resources towards mental health, because this is seriously becoming a problem. And here is a news article, or video, covering this as well.
Many people. However, at this time, the reported language of the sermon appears to be constitutionally protected free speech.
How?
Attorney Eric Cedillo says while the pastor's words are disturbing, that type of speech is protected under the First Amendment because it's not an immediate specific threat.
It's not specific. It's not something that is immediate.
I think it's specific and immediate. This guy is literally calling for all gays to get lined up and shot, and as well as spreading psychotic mentality and lies and misinformation.
So it's a situation where that may be protected, and I think their interpretation is a relatively reasonable.
I don't think it's reasonable. Because if this is protected under the First Amendment, then the First Amendment needs some help. This entire country needs help.
One.
The church issued a statement saying they've been vandalized and received multiple death threats for their beliefs.
And of course here they're playing the victim as usual.
The Southern Poverty Law Center that monitors extremist groups has labeled the church an anti-LGBTQ hate group and says their rhetoric could incite harm against the gay community.
And I don't understand how anything this guy said would even be considered legal in the first place. Like, it's utter insanity. And I like how here on the pop-up it says they think pride or gay pride is the worst sin, like being gay or being proud of it is somehow worse than murdering someone. Definitely homophobe logic there. Well, that's it for this chapter. See you all next time as the adventure continues.